All right. Actually, Jenny, I would love to hear a little bit about your family and where you're from.
Well, that is very sweet of you to ask, Candace. I grew up in this part of the world and a small town, and my dad was actually a heating and cooling contractor. So I grew up learning about HVAC at a young age. Right now, I am happily enjoying my family time with my husband and two boys, ages 12 and 9, and our dog Meadow. We do a lot of stuff together outside, and yeah, definitely my favorite part of my day is being with my family.
Oh, yeah. Except for now during this pandemic when that is not your favorite part of the day. That is your entire day.
Yeah, the online school hasn't started for my kids yet, so ask me in about a week and I might have
In
a
about a
different
week.
opinion.
Wow, you are a true educator through and through. I mean, that's what parenting is about anyway. It's 24/7 being an instructor. It's a beautiful thing.
It is. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. We are here with Jenny Brinker, who is the instructor for the energy management um, program at the Northeast of Wisconsin Technical College. How are you doing, Jenny?
I'm doing really well, Candace. It's nice to meet with you. I've been doing a lot of Zoom meetings lately, so it's nice to
Yes,
see you
oh,
today.
definitely. That is through and through. I feel that eventually my Zoom meetings will be scheduled for 11 p.m. That's how packed out my schedule is.
I
I got
understand.
to start saying no. Jenny, I'm so happy that you're here and you're available with your tight schedule. So we're going to get started. I'd
Okay.
love to just start off and know what was your journey like to becoming the instructor at this technical college?
Yes. Well, it's been a fun journey. I started off graduating with a passion to do something for the environment. And after doing a 4-year degree, I ended up teaching high school actually in Green Bay, Wisconsin for a couple of years. And at that time, I taught curriculum that dealt with our energy resources. And it was really motivating for me to do something about how we use energy, and I ended up using that motivation to find a program to study more about it and perhaps teach more about it. So I ended up attending UW-Madison and their land resources and energy analysis and policy program. So I got my master's degree. And right out of that, through some connections I made through college, I started in an energy consulting career. And I did that happily and have many friends from that career of over 10 years. And I also ended up doing work with a utility company for about a year. So over that time, I've done hundreds of energy audits, helping people save energy, pay attention to how they use energy. And it's really been rewarding. And most of my education has come from, like I tell my students, real world experience, dealing with customers, getting your hands on energy saving equipment, learning from the pros over that time.
That is so exciting that, I mean, I feel your passion. I see that through your story. It's wonderful that you got involved in so many things involving energy. And for those of us who are listening, we're not really sure about, what does energy mean or energy management. Could you define energy management for us?
Sure. I think of energy management as just regularly paying attention to how an enterprise uses energy. So most of my career has been focused on working with businesses. So helping them save energy, pay attention to how they use it, while also, of course, keeping their business functioning and their occupants comfortable is key. Today, it's been interesting through the last decade. We've really been helping people not only pay attention to how they use their existing equipment, but now we're helping folks transition to using renewable energy resources and decreasing their carbon footprint. So putting my passion to work and my original motivation for going into this career has been really rewarding. So overall, the ability to help businesses achieve net zero energy for their building is where we're headed with energy management today.
And that sounds like something that if a student is hearing for the first time what this is defined as and they're getting to know you and they see the passion. I mean, if I was in the career I'm in, I'm like, wow, this sounds really interesting. I would want to, you know, get involved and see what else would I learn in this program? And you mentioned, decreasing your carbon footprint. What other items, what other topics and fields would students learn in joining this energy management program?
Well, it's a 2-year degree program, and of course, we want to educate our students on first identifying where energy is being used. So, breaking down utility data into where that utility data is pulling from. Is it mostly the heating and cooling of the building, the lighting? So, our students take classes that are specific to those mechanics of the building, and then they also take building energy modeling classes and accounting. And we've also changed our curriculum to teach more about the electromechanical and automation controls that are used in the building. Because as you know, I mean, we control things with our phone, with apps. That also applies to businesses, and they can control how their buildings consume energy easily with those devices. So networked controls and building automation is definitely something that our students have been learning more about over this time.
Sounds so exciting. I know your students, when they're just so receptive to it, they have to be because, again, your energy is just so wonderful.
Thanks.
And I'm wondering, I think about the students, I think about this time and the importance of this STEM field. How has it been adapting towards, this pandemic? Um, what type of learning modalities have you tried and what has been most effective?
Okay. Well, it was interesting in spring when we were told we have to teach from home for the last few weeks of class. Our students were involved with an energy audit where we were working with a local high school. The really cool thing is, the high school, everyone had to adapt, and they were able to mail us our data loggers that we had set up a few weeks earlier. So our students were still able to analyze the data and provide a meaningful report out to the leadership at that high school we audited. And we're maintaining communication with them and talking about what they plan to implement. So it was all very exciting. We were able to wrap that up using the same kind of technology we're using now, where our students would meet synchronously, which really was key. I tried some other things in some of my other classes, of course, some interactive discussions, and discussion boards. The way I found to make them exciting is to sometimes make them competitive a little bit, you know
Yes, for sure.
maybe having students try their best to be voted as the best, perhaps for the activity. um, I also, had some mishaps. Students were honest with me. They reported out that if I would create videos that were longer than 10 minutes, forget it. It's hard to take a lot of technical information in
Wow.
in long durations. I get
Mhm.
it. Um,
Well, that's great feedback, right?
yeah, it was great feedback, and the really strongest message they gave me is, Jenny, don't just put a bunch of material in my lap and expect me to do it. I need synchronous meetings with my classmates. So having that peer um, support was was still very important, even though it was done through more web chats and virtual interaction.
That sounds so great. And it's wonderful to hear that the students are so engaged and that they want to interact with their peers, that they're not taking this time like, oh, I'm just going to be at home and do my thing, do my homework, do my projects on my own, and, maybe get on TV or play some video games. They're really wanting, it sounds like, to continue the work that you've been doing prior to the pandemic. But, I can just remember as a student that hands-on learning is just what really keeps the students engaged, as you mentioned. So that sounds wonderful.
That's right.
Jenny, thank you so much. Oh,
Yeah,
yes, go
I
ahead,
was just
please.
gonna say a little stress is helpful too. They knew they had a client to report out to, and I've recognized over the last few years that having those service learning projects gives them that experience. I mean, you really have to be a good communicator and have that pressure to motivate you to do a good job.
Tell me a little bit about the service learning projects.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so lately, or in the past few years, we've just been doing, I shouldn't say just, I can say that because I've been doing energy audits for so many years, but for my students, it's really a valuable first experience to conduct lighting energy audits as probably their first exposure to real life clients, as well as full comprehensive energy audits as sort of the capstone to their 2-year associate's degree. And we have really great relationships with the Native American tribes around us, so Oneida Nation and Menominee Nation, and they have really been excited to have us come into a lot of their businesses. So students have seen a variety of businesses, from schools to print shops, and we've been able to provide the energy saving, advice for those businesses that they can implement. So students have to collect data during those service learning projects. They have to communicate directly with the facility and business operators at these places of business. So again, it really gives them that real life experience and that motivation to do a great job, because this isn't just a class exercise. It's a service we're providing.
It is a service. And as you mentioned, having that real world experience is just going to get them even more ready for the workforce. Jenny, thank you so much for just this beginning part. I'm so excited to get into these next questions that we have for you. But just as an overview, we discussed what energy management means, your definition. It was along the lines of regularly paying attention to the saving of energy for enterprises. I love that definition, so succinct. And also, we talked about this program being a 2-year degree program, and how currently you all are adapting to this pandemic time where you still have your relationship with the high schools. You all are doing the service learning projects. You're using the virtual technology. And as we discussed, having that real important peer support and having regular meetings with the students. This all sounds like you're really busy, packed, but it sounds like a lot of fun and you're up for the challenge. So Jenny, any last words before we take a quick break?
Last words on all of that. Yeah, I guess I have a class to teach in a little bit. So you're right. It is a lot of work, and it's totally worth it. It is so rewarding to see my students, pursue and attain a really successful and rewarding career.
That's great. All right, guys, we are going to take a quick break. We'll be back with Jenny Brinker.